beginning of football, the goalkeepers had no gloves, the conditions were really bad, and the football was very uneven, which made it very difficult to be a keeper these days. They also had a lot of weird rules, one of them being you were allowed to touch the ball with your hands anywhere on the football pitch. The goalkeeper techniques was very advanced, and when handling the ball it was difficult because of no gloves, and when kicking as well, the main goal was to get it as far and as high up the pitch as possible. From watching old videos we could see that being a goalkeeper these days was very difficult, but more importantly very dangerous. They were kicked and pushed around by players all the time. It was a very physical job, and they were nowhere near not protected by the referee like we see with keepers these days. So overall we have massive respect for the people who dare to go in goal in this era. Moving on into the 1920s and 30s, gloves were finally introduced into the game of football. This is when we started seeing some big names in football, and I think that the position overall was more prioritized than it was before. Because of this great invention, the keepers had it much easier now with actually being able to handle the ball. We saw more saves consistently, and we also started seeing new techniques. For example, the goalkeeper throwing technique, which players like Yashin used a lot to his advantage using the gloves. Was a big turning point in the history of football goalkeeping and started shaping the role as we know it today.
From the 1960s and onwards, keepers started to become better at diving, which enabled them to save shots they hadn't been able to save before. You could see that the role of the keeper became a lot more tactical in terms of the build-up of the game, and this made it important for the keepers to become better with their feet. The quality of the pitch and the gear at this time became a lot better than it had been before, which enabled the keeper to shoot goal kicks with a lot more accuracy. This period lasted up until 1992, where the goalkeepers were not longer able to pick up the ball after a back pass.
In the modern era of goalkeeping, from around the late 90s and onwards, we can see that keepers are way more acrobatic. They dive way further than before so that they can reach shots that they were not able to earlier. They're also way better with their feet these days, much more involved in the build-up play, and obviously way more confident with the ball at their feet. And we see keepers like Manuel Neuer and also Ederson, who could have been outfield players in a slightly lower division. Because of the fact that keepers are more important in the build-up play, we see that their distribution, how they pass the ball to the players, is way better. Some keepers specialize in throwing the ball really far. People like that are Manuel Neuer, and also some keepers specialize in, just kicking the ball way upfield, such as our guy Claesson, who got an assist the other day. Something that is very clear to see when you compare modern goalkeepers to older ones is that the modern keepers are way quicker, way more acrobatic. They're not as slow, faster to the ground, and a way larger reach when they dive for the ball. As the art of goalkeeping has evolved, we see players picking up different techniques, and they are obviously trained in different ways. So for example, Schmeichel, he has learned something called the Danish catch, which also his father used, where you catch the ball like this instead of catching the ball like this. But yeah, these days people use a bunch of different techniques, which all seem to be pretty effective in the modern game. Back in the days, it was much more common for keepers to make mistakes, but nowadays the keepers are so good that they are only remembered for the few mistakes they made and not like the 10 insane saves they make. So there is a lot of pressure on the shoulders of a modern goalkeeper. Overall, it is clear to see that the goalkeeping position has become so much more important, because people back in the days, they were not good with their hands and even worse with their feet. But now we see some absolutely amazing goalkeepers pulling off insane saves every single game. So now it is one of the most important roles on the football pitch.
That is the end of this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. It's also our first video with the new camera, so hope you guys appreciate the new quality.
Make sure to leave a like if you enjoyed and subscribe for more awesome football videos like this.
Make sure to also tell us down below which era you like the most.
And that is it for now. We'll see you next weekend. Peace out.